What's going on, Pioneers? Welcome back to the Factory Blueprint series. This episode is going to go over foundries. For this video, I'll be showing you how to make the version with the optional extras. However, like usual, both the basic and extra designs will be available for download. Link is in the description. Shout out to Stefank for reminding me that foundries exist. To get started, we'll first make a 1x foundry that we'll use to then make the 2x and 3x designs. First, place a 4-meter foundation and build a 2x2 1-meter platform, and then remove the 4-meter foundation. We're going to build a foundry directly centered on the platform with the inputs facing into the middle. Place 2 floor holes in line with each input. Place the left one against the foundry and clip the right input so it is underneath the foundry. Snap Mark III plus lifts on top and connect them to the foundry. Place lifts underneath, facing in opposite directions. Now we're going to place splitters on both lifts with the inputs facing to the left. We can also connect power with an outlet underneath and then move on to the output. First, place a floor hole again in line with the output and clip it underneath the foundry. Place a Mark III plus lift and place another one underneath. Place a merger on the lift with the output facing to the right. Now I'm going to remove the foundations so we can tile this design, but don't worry, we'll be adding them back later. I'm now going to save this as 1x foundry left, no floor, and we'll use this to set up the 1x foundry right, no floor, by removing the splitters and mergers and replacing them facing the opposite direction. So the splitters will now input from the right, and the mergers will be outputting to the left. With those changes made, we can save this as 1x foundry right, no floor. We're now going to set up the 2x and 3x options for our left input. Start by loading the 1x foundry, and then place another 1x foundry left to the left of center. We will connect these together with belts and power. We can now save this as 2x foundry left, no floor. And then in this case, I had the blueprint bug, so I just rebuilt both, but you could load up the 2x foundry and then place your 1x foundry next to it and make your connections. With that complete, you can save this as 3x foundry left, no floor. I'll now add the floor back as well as the ceiling and save that as a separate version. Start by loading the 3x foundry left, then place a 4-meter foundation and build 4 tall. Now for this design, I'm going to use the glass floor, but you can use whatever you prefer. Just build a simple 2x4 floor underneath your foundries, and then build a 2x4 ceiling off the top level. Again, for this I'll be using the frame floor, but use whatever you prefer. Once done, you can get rid of the 4-meter foundations. Now we need to add the floor holes to connect levels, so start by adding floor holes out in front of the 2 splitters. If you're building with frame floors, I recommend getting rid of them and replacing them with normal foundations. The floor holes will snap strangely otherwise. We will now make our connections with Mark III lifts and make sure to connect everything with belts if needed. the floor holes in place, you can go ahead and remove the foundation and replace it with the frame floor. And we will see here that they don't line up properly. Now we're going to do the same thing for our output, again with the foundation replacing the frame floor. Going to connect our lifts to our mergers, and this will bring our resources down from above. With that done, we can replace the frame floor, and I'll go ahead and save this design as 3x Foundry left. Now we're going to do the same steps for the right hand side. So start by loading your 1x Foundry. Again, we're going to make a 2 and 3x design. So place 1 to the left, make your connections, and save it as 2x Foundry right. We will then do the same thing and make our 3x design by placing another one to the right, making our connections, and saving this one as 3x Foundry right. Don't forget to add the floor and ceiling back to the 3x design. We'll again make our connections between floors, delete the frame foundation, rebuild it with a normal foundation, and then place your floor holes and connect between levels. With that complete, we can go ahead and save that as 3x Foundry right. We're now going to set up our 6x Foundry option. So we'll first load in the 3x Foundry left. We're then going to place the 3x Foundry right next to it. We want to make sure the inputs are facing the same direction. And we should have the input lifts next to each other on the end. Once we're good, we can place it down. And don't be like me and make sure you connect power between modules. So we'll do that right here on the end. With power connected, we can save this as 6x Foundry left. We're now going to set up the 6x Foundry right. So start by loading the right hand Foundry's design. With that loaded, we can place down the left side. Again, we want to make sure the inputs match up. Once we're happy, we can place it down. Again, we will connect power on the same side. With that done, we can save this as 6x Foundry right, and then we will load up the 6x Foundry left and place a 6x Foundry right on top to create our 12x Foundry. To connect the levels together, we are going to place the 4 lifts on the end. 2 of the lifts need to be connected with belts, so make sure we make those connections. We're then going to work our way around to the outputs, again placing 2 lifts on the outputs. Next, we will connect power in between levels. And if you are choosing to add the pillars and ladders, this is a good time to do so. So I'll just add pillars in the corners and a ladder on 2 of the sides. So with all that done, we can go ahead and save this as the 12x Foundry left. It does work from the left to the right, so don't have to worry about making a right hand side. Let's test this thing out. So for this demo, we're just going to make a simple factory, producing some steel beams and steel pipes. I realize now that it is not technically fully at 100, but it's still working pretty good. So as we can see, we're making some steel pipes and steel beams using the basic steel ingot recipe, and everything is running smoothly and our buffer is filling up. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like. Refineries will be a 2-parter, first the Mark I designs and then the upgraded Mark II designs. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.